Hello, I'm going to continue reading the Magnus Chase, Gods of Asgard, the Hammer of Thor, Chapter 16. The heading says, Hearthstone unleashes his inner bovine. Jack decided this was an excellent time to give me a training session. Despite being fully capable of fighting on his own, he had this strong belief that I should learn to wield him with my own power. Something about me being worthy and competent or whatever. The thing is, I suck at swordplay. Also, Jack always decided to train me in the worst possible situations. No time like the present, he yelled, turning heavy and unhelpful in my grip. So Jack's the sword of summer. Come on, man! I ducked the first blade that the thug towards my head. Let's practice later on mannequins or something. This is serious stuff. My life is in danger. Dodge left, Jack yelled. Not that left, your other left. Make me proud, senor. The blades keep on whisking around his head. I was almost tempted to die just to embarrass Jack in front of the lady sword. But since I was outside Valhalla and my death would be permanent, I decided that particular plan might be short-sighted. The zombies crowded in, got around us, and the cramped quarters were our only advantage. Each Darger was armed with a broadsword, which required about 5 feet of free space for effective swinging. 12 dead zombies with board swords surrounding a tight-knit group of defenders in a small chamber. I don't care how good you are at forming a quorum, you're just not going to be able to massacre those defenders very easily without hacking apart your own comrades as well. Our melee turned into an awkward scuffle with lots of shoving, cursing, and bad zombie breath. Sam thrust her spear under Advard's jaw. The weapon's light burned away his head like a flame going through a toilet paper. Another zombie jabbed at Blitzen's chest, but Blitzen's chainmail-lined vest bent the blade. Blitzen slammed his bow-tie wrapped fist into Zombie's gut and, much to everyone's disgust, got his hand stuck in the zombie's abdomen cavity. Wow. Gross! Blitzen proceeded to lurch backward, yanking the zombie along, swinging him like a clumsy dance partner and knocking other drawer out of the way. Hearthstone took the award for most improved in melee combat. He slammed down his rune stone. He took out this rune stone and set it down. He was immediately encased with golden light. He knew he grew larger, taller. His muscles swelled through though everyone was enflaming his clothes. His eyes turned bloodshot, his hair sprayed with static. He grabbed the nearest zombie and tossed him across the room. Then he picked up another one and literally broke him in half over his knee. As you can guess it, the other zombies backed away from the crazy, overinflated elf. What rune was that? We got to keep that one close by. I accidentally swung Jack through the top of Gillard's sarcophagus, giving him a sunburn. Blitzen yanked his free hand from his dance partner, who collapsed into pieces. The Rune of the Ox, it's called. I silently added an Uru's ruin to my Christmas wish list. Meanwhile, Sam cut through her enemies, twirling her spear in one hand like a shiny baton of death, Any zombie who managed to avoid going up in flames, she chopped down with her axe. Jack continued shouting unhelpful advice. Parry, Magnus. Duck, defense, pattern, omega. I was pretty sure that wasn't even a thing. A few times I managed to hit a zombie. Jack cut him to pieces. Then I doubled. The moves were impressive enough to win Jack a date with a lady's sword. When it became clear that Gillard was running out of bodyguards, he leaped into the battle himself, whacking me with his sheathed sword and yelling, "Bad mortals! Bad mortals!" I tried to fight back, but Jack resisted. Probably he thought it would be uncavalierous to fight a lady, especially one who was stuck in her sheath. Jack was old-fashioned that way. Finally, Gillard was the only Dagger left. So Dagger, I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Draugr, Dagger. That's those zombie creatures. So Gillard's the only one left. His bodyguards laid stew across the floor in a ghastly collection of arms, legs, and weapons, and netting supplies. Gillard backed towards the esophagus, cradling the sword against his chest. Hold on. Point of order. I move that we table all further combat until... Hearthstone object to Gur's motion by rushing the prince and ripping off his head. Gur's body toppled forward, and our raging elf stomped him flat, kicking and splattering his body remains until there was nothing left but the sword itself. So they pretty much killed every zombie there. Hearthstone started to kick at that. "Stop him!" Jack yelled. I grabbed Hearthstone's arm, which was definitely the bravest thing I've done that day. He rounded on me, his eyes blazing with fury. "He's dead," I signed. "Can you stop now?" Chances were high that I was going to get decapitated again. Then Hearthstone blinked, the bloodshot eyes cleared, his muscles deflated, his hair settled against his scalp. He crumpled, but Blitz and I were both there to catch him. We've gotten used to Hearthstone's post-magic pass-outs. Sam stuck her spear into Dagfin's corpse and left it there standing up like a giant glow stick. She paced the tomb, cursing under her breath. "I'm sorry, guys. All that risk, all that effort, and no modeler. I don't know what that is." "Hey, it's cool," Jack said. "We rescued the sword from her evil master. She's going to be so graceful. We have to take her with us." Blitzen waved his orange handkerchief in Hurt's face, trying to revive him. Taking the sword would be a very bad idea. "Why?" I asked. "And why did Hurt look so freaked out when he heard its name?" "You said something about a stone?" Blitzen cradled Hurt's head in his lap like he was trying to protect the elf from our conversations. "Kid, whoever sent to protect the elves from our whoever sent us here, it was a trap." "Really?" "But the Daggars were the least dangerous things in this chamber. Somebody wanted us to free that sword." A familiar voice said, "You're absolutely right." My heart jackknifed. Standing in front of Gellard's remains were the two I least wanted to see in the 9 worlds. Uncle Randolph and Loki. What? Behind them, a back panel of the sawed-off coffin had become a shimmering doorway. On the other side lay Randolph's study. Loki's scarred lips twisted into a grin. "Good job finding the bride price. Sword, Magnus. The sword is perfect." Wow. I didn't see that coming. So, they were tricked to come to that location And Loki knew that Magnus and his buddies would take care of the zombies. Pretty easy. But Loki wanted the sword, apparently a female sword, that the leader guy had. Apparently it's an ancient sword. So that was cool. That was chapter 16.